Hey, hey, hey. I'm Sarah Olivieri, and I go live with you every week to give you tips straight from the real nonprofit CEOs who are making the world a better place every day. Today, we got to do a deep dive on strategy, and it was so much fun. Well, for me, because I love strategy. But this really important lesson learned. Now, nobody has bigger, bolder goals than a nonprofit organization. But if we don't break those goals down, we can get lost. We can get distracted or confused about where to be putting our attention because big goals often have a lot of things that sub goals that need to get done. So, my big tip for you today is take your big goals and break them down. Let's go into that just a little bit deeper. So, at the highest level, our biggest, boldest goals should be outcomes. They're things that we want to change in the world that we can't just presto changeo, wave our magic wand and do, right? Things like raising money, curing cancer, ending hunger. Those are really big, audacious outcome goals. So we want to break down our outcomes when we have a really big outcome into sub outcomes. What are the results, the sub outcomes that we need to get there to do that, right? So, of course, in nonprofits, we're often talking about raising money. So if we need to get to $1 million, and let's be real about what is the real number we need to get to, right? Then what is our first chunk that we're going to get to? What is our first kind of area, right? Because money could come in from different places. So in this case, we decided the first step was kind of building those fundraising foundations. The next step was bringing in big money from a small group of donors. The step after that was going to be bring in a lot of potential donors. And then we're starting to refine how we actually turn those potential donors into donors and donor retention and more complicated things like that. So that's how we broke down a big outcome into sub outcomes. Once we've broken down into sub outcomes, we want to take those sub outcomes and write up the things, the goals, another set of goals, right? That you actually have control over. So you can't force somebody to give you $60,000, but you can meet with 20 people or you can reach out to 20 people hoping that you'll meet with them and work on getting them to give you that money, right? So now we have meeting or trying to meet 20 people or making 20 calls. That one's very much in your control, is what I like to call an execution goal. Some people call them process goals, right? That's the second. Every goal comes in a pair, the thing that you don't have control over and the thing you do have control over. And so once we have that goal of what we do have control over, now we're going to start to build out projects, right? That are going to get us to achieve that goal that we do have control over. So did you break it down enough? If the projects that are coming out of your execution goals can be broken down into things that can be done in 2 weeks, and you can kind of tick off your goals as being accomplished in a reasonable amount of time, then it's good, probably. What was a red flag for me today was we had a client who the list of sub goals that needed to be done was just going to like be there forever. And it was like turning into this big thing. And so we had to break that down, right? So it was really visible as we looked at the goals that it wasn't broken down enough. If you like these tips, if you want to be in the room with me, if you want me to sit down with your strategy and actually do the goal breaking up for you and pull out my calculator and start punching in the numbers, we can do that together. If you're a nonprofit CEO, go to pivotground.com/application to see if you are qualified to work with me. And if you are, I would love to help you build out the most incredible strategy. Today, we set up a strategy to go from $175,000 in revenue to $1 million in revenue. And let me tell you, by the end of the path, by the end of the session, it was pretty clear exactly how we were going to get there. And I don't even think it's going to take that long. I'll see you in the room. I'll see you next week.